Trapped by their role as predators, birds of prey continue to be victims of ignorance and prejudice.
What is it about birds of prey that arouses such intense and contradictory emotions? Well, meet one of these sky hunters face to face, and it's easy to see why they are both awe-inspiring and threatening. Catch the lightning of a golden eagle's eye, and you know instantly why this was the chosen bird of Zeus, the Caesars, and emperors down through the ages. But these fiercely beautiful eyes are also tools of its trade. It can spot a rabbit 2 miles away. The beak is sharply hooked to tear flesh, and the upper and lower parts cut like scissor blades. But the real weapons are its feet, powered by muscular legs, equipped with razor-sharp 4-inch talons. They're exquisite instruments of death. As an eagle clutches its prey, the 3 toes in front balance against the rear toe. With enormous pressure, it slices deep through skin and muscle. And buoyed up on wings which stretch more than 7 feet, an eagle can plummet unseen from dizzying heights to deal its death blow. All birds of prey, like this magnificent golden eagle, are superbly designed predators, each tailor-made for a particular way of life.
The bald eagle, found only in North America. It's a skilled fisherman, but it's not above a little larceny to secure a meal. Old World vultures, close relatives of the eagles. They soar effortlessly, keen eyes on the lookout for other vultures descending to a carcass. We may find their habits unsavory, but they perform a vital service, recycling the bodies of the dead, a function performed on this side of the Atlantic by the New World vultures, including Andean condors, the largest of all birds of prey. Among the raptors, the osprey is in a class by itself. On every continent, it hunts for fish with spectacular plunge dives. Its long, narrow wings generate enough power to get it airborne while carrying a fish that actually outweighs it. Its feet are extremely powerful, covered with spines and equipped with talons like fishhooks to help it keep hold of its slippery prey. Buoyant, agile, and swift, the snail kite feeds exclusively on a single species of snail. The forest has its own fierce breed of raptors, built for hunting in dense cover. The goshawk's long tail makes it highly maneuverable, and its short, rounded wings allow it to crash through foliage in pursuit of songbirds. But birds of prey don't always have it all their own way. Smaller but more agile birds often mob raptors to drive them away from their nests. But this red-tailed hawk is more interested in rodents than in songbirds. One of the buzzard hawks, it's built like a miniature eagle. The red-tailed hawk is probably the most common bird of prey in the United States. Though it can live almost anywhere, it's happiest in farm country, where it helps keep the numbers of rodents in check. Of all the raptors, the peregrine falcon is unsurpassed for the thrill of its hunting technique. Falcons are the swiftest animals on Earth. Powerful oar-like strokes pull her streamlined body through the air. She hitches a ride skyward on winds deflected up from the ridge. To bag her swift prey, she will need the upper hand. Once she sights her prey, she climbs higher. She folds her wings, a feathered projectile. At speeds reaching 200 miles an hour, she stoops to conquer. Prairie falcons in our American West use the same spectacular skydiving technique. These aerial fireworks are seen most commonly in Idaho's Snake River Canyon, a sanctuary which protects the falcons, eagles, and hawks which live here at twice the density found anywhere else. Both abundant prey and vast expanses of open space are found here, vital needs for raptors. Loose deposits of wind-blown soil make a perfect medium for the burrows of Townsend's ground squirrels. These rodents are the staple diet of the hundreds of pairs of prairie falcons that nest on these towering cliffs. The falcon that pulls its chick back from the cliff's edge seems a very different creature from the feathered missile that knocks its prey from the sky. It takes the unceasing care of both parents to raise a chick. The male does most of the hunting, while the much larger female stays at the nest to protect and feed the young. The smaller male catches smaller prey, which is both more abundant and easier for the young to eat. Proud and elusive, raptors have always struck awe in human hearts. In ancient Egypt, the falcon was worshipped as Horus, the chief sun god and protector of the pharaoh in life. In the afterworld, he was transformed into a half-human deity. The spirits of the dead brought offerings to this falcon-headed Lord of Heaven. Zeus, the Lord of the gods in ancient Greece, was attended by a golden eagle. The same bird was considered a messenger to the Great Spirit by Native Americans. only chiefs of the Plains tribes were allowed to wear the eagle feather bonnet. In Asia, man and raptor first developed a new relationship, as eagles and falcons were trained to hunt. During the Crusades, Arab falconers introduced the sport to Europe, where it became the passion of nobility for 5 centuries. Only the rise of firearms rang the death knell for falconry. Hawks no longer captured game for the falconer. Suddenly, they were seen as competitors for it instead. Birds of prey were also persecuted as threats to domestic animals, though they rarely prey on livestock. In the sentimental view of the Victorian era, all predators were seen as bad animals, endowed with viciousness and abilities that defied the facts. Even leading conservationists of the day called for the destruction of raptors because they preyed on innocent songbirds and wildlife. Fantastic but popular tales of eagles swooping down and snatching away children to feed their own young were believed by many. Even our national symbol, the bald eagle, fell victim to this climate of hate and fear. Shooting and habitat loss reduced their numbers drastically in the U.S., and persecution followed them even into their last stronghold in Alaska. Here in the Chilkat River Valley, warm springs that keep the river from freezing set the stage for a natural spectacle. The upwelling warm water makes it an ideal place for salmon spawning. Each fall and winter, salmon return here to spawn and die, creating a bonanza for the eagles. As many as 3,600 gather here in the greatest council of eagles known. In a reverse migration, they fly as far as 1,000 miles north to this winter sanctuary. Now protected by law, the eagles were once considered vermin and were not always safe here. For 35 years, Alaska paid people to shoot bald eagles. Almost 130,000 were slaughtered. In 1940, Congress passed the Bald Eagle Protection Act to stop the killing. But if the destruction of our country's emblem was accepted for so long, what chance had the other, less glamorous birds of prey? Pole traps were set on the hawk's favorite perches. Even our national parks joined in their slaughter. Bounties were placed on their heads. Man would make the world safe from birds of prey. But there were a few who stood in the midst of this butchery and understood that it was wrong. One of these was Richard Poe. In 1932, he made a discovery that would change his own life, as well as the course of conservation in this country. It launched him on a career in habitat protection that would span half a century and see him found the Nature Conservancy. But it all started in Pennsylvania Dutch country at a place called Hawk Mountain.
Well, I read an article in which the location of goshawks sent in for bounty were plotted on a map, and there was an area north of Philadelphia where I was living at the time, and I was just kind of curious about how come so many were from that one area. So I went up on a lovely September Sunday, into that region and started asking farmers and anyone I would run across, was there any good place to shoot hawks? Well, finally, I hit pay dirt, as they say, and a farmer said, well, you want to go to a place we call Hawk Mountain, and he told me how to get there. So I drove up this mountain road, and as I got toward the top, it sounded as though there was a battle going on.
A group of local farmers had discovered a natural funnel on the major migration route for hawks in the Northeast. It was just target practice, and they believed they were destroying vermin at the same time.
They were having a wonderful time popping away at these hawks as they came by. Well, I was, of course, outraged, but there wasn't much I could do except just take in what was going on, and then I went back, and the next Sunday went up with my brother and Henry Collins, whom was a friend. So we went to work picking up the birds just to sort of get an idea of how many had been shot. The hunters never saw the dead hawks. They would fall down into the trees below the sort of cliff-like place where they were standing to do their shooting. And down there, of course, a lot of them were just merely wounded and had festered wounds and were still alive. And it was a pretty pathetic sight. But we had to put them out of their misery and then carry them on up to the lookout there, where the flat area enabled us to lay them out and take the pictures that we took.
Poe and his friend, Henry Collins, used these pictures as evidence of the dimensions of the slaughter. In all, there were 300 dead hawks laid out in pitiful columns. One Sunday's toll. One woman who saw these pictures could not forget them. Mrs. Rosalie Edge, a former suffragette, was a conservationist ahead of her time. Her one-woman committee championed the cause of persecuted species, especially hawks. She single-handedly went about raising funds to purchase the site and turned Hawk Mountain into the first sanctuary in the world dedicated to birds of prey.
Well, in a way, this was a sort of an entering wedge in changing the attitude of the public to birds of prey. More and more people went up there and watched them and saw them, and the sentiment all over the country, under the influence of what's known as the ecology movement, began to realize that every living thing had its place in nature, and there weren't any good birds or bad birds or animals, that they were all just part of a complex, which we call nature today. It's a marvelous setting up there on the top of that mountain with a view out over the landscape and the wind in your face and the birds coming by.
Shotguns have been replaced by telescopes at this school in the clouds. Here the public is introduced to these regal wanderers.
Osprey out over 5.
How high? Oh, there he is.
From its inception, the sanctuary has been dedicated to education as much as to protection. True security for these birds lies only in the hearts and minds of an enlightened public.
Well, at Hawk Mountain, we're looking at birds in flight. Sharp-shinned hawk, the Cooper's hawk, and the gauze hawk. They'll flap a little bit, and they'll begin to lose that altitude, and then they'll flap some more, and then they'll glide, and they'll lose that altitude again. So we call their flight pattern flap, flap, glide. And did you see sharp-shins up there? And what are they doing? They're flap, flap, gliding. They're catching that wind on their flaps, and then they're dropping down.
The thrill of contact with one of these sky hunters is felt by the novice as much as the globe-trotting birdwatcher. Even birding has its celebrities, as the passage of a peregrine falcon demonstrates. A conspiracy of climate and geography brings this stream of migrant raptors to Hawk Mountain. Autumn cold fronts trigger the migration south. Prevailing northeast winds collide against this ridge, creating an updraft, a conveyor belt of rising air that allows these efficient soarers to save energy on the journey south.
Shelby going over Pinnacle now. to the right of Pinnacle.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Following the horizon there.
Every autumn, rain or shine, naturalists and volunteers have counted the birds as they pass by each day. Dating back more than 50 years, it's the longest running study of hawk migration in the world.
KJB 211, North at the headquarters. I'll give you the count for the hour 10 to 11. We had 9 sharpshins, 1 Cooper's hawk, 2 broadwings, 1 redtail, 4 American kestrels, 1 immature...
This unrivaled set of data helps detect swings in raptor populations. But to discover where the birds come from and where they go requires a more hands-on approach. 70 miles north, along the same ridge, dedicated hawk lovers have set their nets. Like fishermen, they lay their nets in the early morning light. Deftly, the lure is played. The fluttering pigeon mimics the action of a wounded bird.
We got a bird out here just over the main lure.
I see.
Just above the horizon. Okay, it's a Sharpie. It's a Sharpie.
It's a Sharpie.
Yep.
Over the other one. Go ahead, get it.
Okay, go on.
As fast as you can. I got one right in front of you coming in.
Okay, wait.
Go ahead.
Okay, I got him.
The catch this time is a sharp-shinned hawk, a tiny but gutsy predator.
Need any help with him?
No, I can get him. He's not too badly caught. Okay, that's 1 foot clear.
He's only the size of a robin, but he had every intention of tackling the lure pigeon.
Got him out, Judy?
Okay, I got him clear.
All right, hustle in here. We got another one coming in.
He's just become part of a nationwide effort to understand the lives of raptors.
Hold on.
Okay, they passed by.
Okay, I think he's a number 2, but let's get leg gauge him just to make sure.
After being placed inside a dark tube to keep him calm, his leg is measured for the band that will mark him in life and in death.
Number 2 is it.
The Fish and Wildlife Service supplies the leg bands. The bird's vital statistics are recorded. Each band is engraved with a number to identify this hawk should he ever come in contact with people again.
Do a wing cord real quick.
A little spicy feller.
The wing is measured so that the bird can be sexed. Most male and female birds of prey look identical, but females are up to a third larger.
Got him. Okay, sharpshin hawk, hatching year male, 170 wing cord, caught in the mist net. All right, we got
Okay.
everything?
Got
Ready to let him
everything.
go?
Ready to go.
Okay.
See you back south.
The band is an investment in the future. If it's recovered, it will tell how long this bird lived and where he traveled.
He's coming in fast. Looks a little small, though. I think it's a Sharpie. Oh, no, he went over the top of the net.
It's a coop.
It's a coop. Son of a gun, he's on the bow. Got him.
A spring-operated bow net nabs a larger Cooper's hawk. Ed and Judy Hinkle are just 2 of the hundreds of volunteers who operate a loose network of banding stations at strategic points along the major hawk migration routes. Their reward, their privilege, is to hold a fistful of feathered fury.
Usually coopers don't sound off so much. My goodness. It's
It was a shared passion for these avian gladiators that first brought Ed and Judy together. They met in a banding blind and were married with their trained falcons on their fists. Ed has spent 25 years of autumn weekends and vacations banding hawks. He's learned far more about them than just the data he's collected. He knows their natures, how a hawk will lie quiet as he's released, his stare fixed upon his liberator. Suddenly, he realizes he's free once more.
Oh, wait, look, we got a retrap.
Here.
You got him?
Oh,
It's an older band, too. It's not shiny
don't
bright.
let him foot me.
Would I do that to you?
Wow, that's an old one. You read
Read
the
it?
number?
Okay.
1043. Wow, we're working on a 1400 string now.
A recapture is a rare and exciting event. This bird has beaten the odds. Twice in his short life, he has fallen into the hands of people who care about his welfare.
No brown feathers in the wing. Oh, yes, that's okay. You've had a good life so far. We'll let you have a longer one now.
His banding record will tell how old he is and where he has traveled on his migrations.
Go on his way. Maybe we can catch him again next year, the same spot.
In fact, it is in our own self-interest to be concerned for the welfare of birds of prey, because they are living gauges of ecological health. In the decades after World War II, a miraculous new breed of pesticides came into wide use. The most infamous was DDT. Prey species ate seeds and insects treated with DDT, while rain runoff carried it into the water. The poison remained potent and was absorbed by algae from the current. Small fish ate the algae and were eaten themselves by larger fish. At each step in the food chain, the poison became more concentrated. By the time it reached the bald eagle, the concentration of pesticide could be 200,000 times greater than that in the water. Adults were rarely killed outright. DDT's action was more insidious. Eggshell thinning would decimate a whole generation of raptors. With thin or absent eggshells, most chicks never hatched. The weight of the brooding mother destroyed her own young. When adult birds did die, no heirs inherited their eyries. In 1972, DDT was outlawed for use in the United States, but the damage was already done. By that time, female raptors carried heavy loads of the poison, and they continued to lay thin-shelled eggs. The peregrine falcon was especially hard hit. East of the Mississippi, it vanished completely, while California's peregrines began disappearing from their seaside haunts. Even in the remote mountain states of the West, they were beginning to fade into memory. In these spacious hawk barns, a monumental effort to revive the peregrine falcon is taking place. Today, in this state-of-the-art facility, breeding peregrines is an exact science. The activities of the breeding pairs in their large flying cages are monitored by video camera, and they are fed and watered remotely to minimize their contact with people. As the eggs are laid, they are removed from the nest so that the pair will mate again and lay a second clutch. The eggs are placed in incubators where temperature and humidity are carefully controlled. The eggs are candled so that infertile ones can be discarded. Visitors watch as a miraculous event takes place. A tiny member of an endangered species makes its entrance into a very strange new world. Every aspect of the hatchling's health is carefully monitored. The downy chicks are hand-fed at first to make sure they get off to a good start. But if they're fed by their human keepers for too long, they become imprinted on people and will never mate with another peregrine. So, when they're 5 days old, the chicks are placed with surrogate parents. Once they're released, they'll learn to hunt for themselves. Mortality is high the first year, but some of the almost 3,000 birds released by the Peregrine Fund have gone on to raise a new generation of wild falcons, and in some pretty wild places. Falcons like cities. Atop a grand old hotel in Salt Lake City, a pair made up of a male born in captivity and a wild female is raising a family. Like an avian version of Falcon Crest, their intimate family life is seen on television in the lobby. The hotel even reserved 2 rooms for Mr. and Mrs. P. Falcon, so that the birds would not be disturbed. The Peregrine success story is a tribute to those who love hawks. There are now 350 breeding pairs nationwide, with 70 in the eastern United States where they had been completely wiped out. "70 feet up a tree in northern Manitoba, a disgruntled bald eagle chick is about to leave the nest, but not under its own power.
Hey.
Introductions made, a voyage begins that will reestablish the bald eagle in Massachusetts.
Okay, Craig, I'm just going to pick up the one closest to me, so everybody keep an eye on the one that's on the outside. Right. Okay, hang on. Hang in there. Okay, it's all right. Okay, all right, calm down.
The bald eagle is doing well in this Canadian wilderness, but habitat loss and pesticides killed off the native breeding population in Massachusetts.
You're doing good.
Now that pesticide levels have dropped there, surplus birds from Canada are being reintroduced.
Take it nice and easy. Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Okay, let me know how he looks.
With only his dignity ruffled, the 7-week-old chick is already an impressive handful. He's just the right age for relocation. He hasn't imprinted on the place of his birth yet. Eagles are like salmon. They return to the area where they fledge to breed. By bringing the young birds to the shores of the Quabbin Reservoir, it's hoped that a nucleus of breeding pairs will establish there. For 6 weeks, this station will be the chicks' home, but until the moment of their release, they will never see their attendants, a safeguard against their becoming imprinted on people. Every 30 seconds, their activities are recorded by a raptor biologist who watches from behind a one-way mirror. They spend most of their time resting or preening the adult feathers that are pushing through to replace their baby down. As time passes, they begin exercising their flight muscles, preparation for a future on the wing. Just before they're ready for release, they must endure one more visit by their caretakers.
I got the big one, eh? Well, I'm going to get it in a second, yeah?
Wings are carefully folded back so that the birds cannot injure themselves as they're given a final physical exam.
You got a free hand? No problem. You want to take the counter home?
No, he's not going to hurt you, little lady. We're just fixing you up so you can't hurt yourself. Yeah.
A miniature radio transmitter is sewn onto the tail feathers. Should the chick get into trouble after being set free, it could be located and given a helping hand. Colored tags are attached to the wing as a permanent form of ID. Finally, boats are dispatched in case the first flight proves to be a wet one. Five years later, 3 pairs of eagles have returned to nest here. And happily, 5,000 bald eagles now breed in the lower 48 states. Dozens of projects like this one are returning birds of prey to their previous haunts, but they find a very different landscape below them. Living at the top of the food chain, they need large tracts of land with a healthy prey base, increasingly rare commodities. Slowly, they're being crowded out with nowhere left to go. On the West Coast, the California condor has run out of room and almost out of time. Destroyed by loss of habitat and food supply, poisoning and shooting, there are only 28 left. They have all been taken into captivity in a last-ditch effort to save the species. This tenderly courting pair is a cause for hope. In 1988, the very first California condor conceived in captivity was hatched. The operation looked more like surgery than a natural act, but tiny Moloko was perfect and healthy. The future of his species seems to weigh heavily on this tiny and weary head. But if such extraordinary efforts to save birds of prey are barely within our grasp, they are completely out of the question in developing nations. A young Philippine eagle, still in its nest, is just one of the countless casualties of deforestation. Tropical forests are going up in smoke at an alarming rate. Cleared for farmland or bartered away to serve foreign debt, they will take with them most of the world's species of birds of prey, many of which are virtually unknown to science. There are fewer than 300 Philippine eagles alive today. One of the most spectacular birds in the world may disappear within this century. Another scourge of tropical raptors is the same pesticides that almost destroyed our own birds of prey. Though their use is banned at home, they are still produced in the U.S. and sold to developing nations. Inevitably, the poison begins to accumulate in the food chain. The African fish eagle is beginning to lay thin-shelled eggs, following the same path once taken by its relative, the bald eagle. And because both raptors and the birds they prey upon are far-ranging migrants, the pesticide problem won't stay in the tropics. They pick up the poison on their winter stays there and bring it home with them each spring. The World Center for Birds of Prey realizes the global dimensions of the problem and has taken action. From the rainforests of South America, harpy eagles, the most powerful eagles in the world, and beautiful orange-breasted falcons are brought to Idaho to be captive bred. The rarest falcon in the world is also here, the tiny Mauritius kestrel. Once there were only 3 pairs left. Today, thanks to captive breeding, 40 have been released in their tropical island home. But since most of their habitat has been deforested, their future is still in doubt. Captive breeding can preserve a species, but only the preservation of habitat can provide a real future for these majestic birds. Luckily, there have always been people so inspired by birds of prey that they've dedicated their lives to them. One of these is Morley Nelson, a legendary master falconer. Morley was one of the prime movers in establishing both the World Center and the Snake River Birds of Prey sanctuaries. For more than 50 years, he has been an impassioned advocate for raptors, and for him, falconry has always been the source of his inspiration.
You want to go out? Get those big guys. Come on, big hawk. Come on, big hawk. Step up. Good boy. Good boy. You're a good hawk. We're going to leave. Go out here and put these jesses on and go hunting, huh? Good boy.
Falconry requires both great patience and profound knowledge. It's not a pursuit for the amateur, who can only harm any bird he takes. A permit is required to keep any bird of prey, and a novice must pass a test before being awarded one. Morley's favorite is a splendid gerfalcon named Thor. The hood, which keeps Thor quiet, is made of a centuries-old design. while the radio transmitter, which allows Morley to keep track of his bird, is a modern addition. Once the jesses, which leash the bird to Morley, are loosed and the hood is removed, Thor is free to do what he loves most.
Good boy. Help! Help!
Morley swings a winged lure to call Thor back to him. The only bond now between man and bird is one of trust and affection. Man and bird stand together, facing an uncertain and common future. Morley believes that if people come to love these sky hunters as he does, it will awaken a deeper understanding of our own place in the natural world.
All right, Thor, old boy, that was great. Little Northie. We'll give her another try another day.
Man has always looked to the heavens for inspiration and has found it there, soaring on outstretched wings.